It is absolutely disgusting and frustrating to see just how low Donald Trump has sunk to hide the truth about his ties to appalling crimes and his disturbing connection to Jeffrey Epstein, world of abuse. Every new revelation about Trump's effort to obstruct justice and silence accountability leaves me just more disgusted than before. I genuinely don't think it could get any worse, yet somehow Trump keeps proving otherwise. This man has gone to staggering lengths to block investigations, pressure agencies like the FBI into silence, to shield Ghislaine Maxwell from facing full consequences, all while victims are left without justice. But now the situation has escalated, even further. Newly leaked prison emails from Maxwell have exposed what appears to be Trump's secretive and deeply cynical, plan to keep her protected. And the contents are absolutely, infuriating. Just really winds you up. We're going to unpack all of this in this video, guys, but before we dive into it, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because it does really help in supporting our work here. Now, before we examine these leaked messages, let's start with how Trump has spent years defending and excusing his, long-time associate Ghislaine Maxwell. As journalist Rachel Maddow recently explained, the pattern here is unmistakable, and it's utterly damning as well at the same time, guys. Take a look.
No criminal, certainly no one convicted in conjunction with a horrific crime like child sex abuse, no criminal should be given a reward for doing interviews about their crimes, right? It's instinctively repulsive to us as Americans. But of course, that is what Donald Trump's Justice Department appears to have just done in the case of Ghislaine Maxwell, who was convicted of crimes related to mass child sex abuse in the Jeffrey Epstein case. Trump's Justice Department sent Trump's former personal defense lawyer, who now has the #2 job in the U.S. Justice Department, he sent that man to go meet with Ghislaine Maxwell in prison, do an interview, and then she immediately got a big, very important material benefit. She got bumped down to a minimum security prison where a sex offender like her is not allowed to be unless they get some special dispensation from on high, which apparently she got just after doing this interview with the president's former personal defense lawyer. Special treatment and a reward for an interview about her crimes, not from some craven tabloid or some, soulless exploitative publisher like New York state legislators were worried about in the 1970s. No, this is from the president's administration. This is from the federal government. And in that interview, it's not like the president's lawyer was pressing her real hard on what she was telling him. At one point, Ghislaine Maxwell volunteered in this interview that there were multiple members of President Trump's cabinet who had been involved with child sex abuser Jeffrey Epstein. Now, in the interview, the president's lawyer, we can hear, it's on the tape. The president's lawyer hears her say that about multiple members of President Trump's cabinet, and he responds to her saying that by not asking anything about it. You can listen to it. She volunteers. Members of Trump's cabinet, people who the president's lawyer would value as colleagues, she says. She says they were among the people who she knows socialized with Jeffrey Epstein. She says that bluntly. And then listen to how Donald Trump's lawyer responds to that. Listen to the long pause he greets that information with, and then he just leaves it sitting right where it is and moves on to a different topic.
Did I think these guys were coming for that? I really don't. If you met Epstein, there is no way that this cast of characters, of which it's extraordinary, some of you in your cabinet, who you value as your co-workers and
So this woman who's in prison, a 20-year sentence because of her crimes that she committed with Jeffrey Epstein, she says, hey, members of Donald Trump's cabinet were involved with this thing that I was part of. Were involved with Epstein. She said, plural, right? Some are in your cabinet. Some are in your cabinet who you value as your coworkers. Multiple members of the president's cabinet were involved with Jeffrey Epstein. And the response to her volunteering this in this interview is not, who? Which members of the cabinet? Say what now? The response is, long pause. Let's move on.
What's coming to light here is genuinely horrifying, guys. It's becoming impossible to ignore that Donald Trump appears determined to shield Ghislaine Maxwell from any real accountability. You know, the evidence just suggests, you know, he's still entertaining the idea of protecting her through political influence, even floating the possibility of a pardon in the past. And her proximity to figures connected to his administration is deeply unsettling at the same time. Trump seems willing to do whatever it takes, whatever needs to be done to keep her quiet and to bury the truth about what really happened. And now those intentions appear to be confirmed in newly leaked emails from Maxwell herself. Messages that are as chilling as they are revealing. Ghislaine boasts about Wonderland Prison in email. Ghislaine Maxwell is gushing about her sweet new prison setup. Days after Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's convicted accomplice, was moved from a federal prison in Florida to lower security, all-women's federal prison Camp Ryan in Texas near her family, she was raving about her new living situation in emails to family and friends, NBC News reported. Maxwell, 63, was moved after 2 days of talks with Deputy Attorney Todd Blanche, Donald Trump's former personal attorney, about her connections to Epstein in July, raising questions about a possible deal with the administration. She is currently serving a 20-year sentence for sex trafficking. I feel like I have dropped through Alice in Wonderland's looking glass, Maxwell wrote to a relative in an email obtained by NBC. She added, I am much happier here and more importantly safe. The new prison is a dome-style facility that houses other high-profile criminals, including Theranos fraudster Elizabeth Holmes and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Jen Shah. The facility touts numerous amenities, including a study, a game room, and an arts crafts classes for inmates. In September, Maxwell was spotted heading to yoga class. In the emails, Maxwell wrote that her situation has improved at Bryan, with less violence, more polite staff, and better food. The institution is run in an orderly fashion, which makes for a safer, more comfortable environment for all people concerned, inmates and guards alike, the Epstein accomplice wrote. The kitchen looks clean too. No possums falling from the ceiling to fry, unfortunately, on ovens and becoming mingled with food being served, she said, drawing comparisons to a previous facility. Maxwell also referred to prison camp warden Tanisha Hall as a true professional. It is a well-managed, well-run institution with an excellent warden who leads from the top, she wrote. She is a true professional and the best representative of the BOP I have met. The emails were first obtained by the House Judiciary Committee after Democratic Republican Jamie Raskin of Maryland wrote an open letter to Hall on October 30th asking about Maxwell's perceived VIP treatment. Miss Maxwell is not only receiving VIP treatment and FPC Bryan, including private meetings with mysterious visitors, meal delivery to a dormitory and other special perks, but that you and other prison officials have retaliated against inmates who dare to speak out about her fawning preferential treatment, Raskin wrote. I write to determine why this is happening and why you appear to have joined this administration's efforts to cover up the decades-long international multi-billion-dollar Epstein-Maxwell sex trafficking conspiracy. Maxwell's quiet transfer required the Bureau of Prisons to waive its policy that convicted sex offenders must be held at least at low-security prison, according to NBC. Maxwell received a waiver to facilitate the move, MSNBC's Ken Delanian reported, giving her access to a far less restrictive prison environment than the one in Tallahassee. In October, President Donald Trump left the door open to a possible Maxwell pardon while pretending not to know her. The Daily Beast has reached out to the Justice Department for comment. This is absolutely revolting, guys. Every single person in the country should be furious right now. This should be dominating every front page and every news broadcast in America. While survivors of abuse still fight for justice, you know, Ghislaine Maxwell is reportedly spending her time in prison doing yoga, painting and living far more comfortably than she ever should. The sheer cruelty of it's unbearable, guys. I mean, a convicted enabler of exploitation, living with privileges most Americans, you know, can only dream of. And Trump, the man who never stops bragging about being, you know, tough on crime, is the one ensuring this system of corruption carries on and keeps protecting people like her. Trump sent federal troops after protesters in Portland, but somehow the woman tied to one of the most notorious, abusers in modern history is treated like a celebrity guest. It's amazing. It's a grotesque display of hypocrisy, a cover-up in plain sight. I mean, they are laughing at us whilst they're actually doing it. Trump ran a promise to fix the justice system, and he did it. Just for not ordinary Americans, obviously, he fixed it to protect himself. His billionaire friends and the ultra-wealthy predators out there, guys, who fund these type of campaigns and his personal campaigns. He's handed out pardons and favors to financial criminals who funnel millions into his pockets, whilst millions of Americans can't even afford, to feed their families. It's just that unbearable. I mean, that's the real state of our justice system, guys. Broken for working people, rigged for the rich. The same power structure that, lets Maxwell live in comfort is the one that rewards Trump's donors and cronies at the same time. The billionaires who hoard obscene amounts of wealth while regular people work 60 hours just to survive. It's sickening to think about people going hungry, guys. Children starving while Trump and his circle make sure that those responsible for exploitation live in luxury. Every tax break, every backroom deal, every corporate pardon, it all fuels the same corrupt machine, guys, that protects the powerful and punishes the powerless, unfortunately. Now everyone should be angry, because this just isn't just about, one person or one scandal. It's about a government that's completely sold out. Justice, it's about a president who used his power to shield the worst people imaginable, guys, while telling the rest, everyone else, just keep working harder. Of course, we're going to keep calling this out every day on this channel by demanding accountability and exposing the truth. And always, guys, I appreciate you for staying with me. Please hit that like button, comment on the video, stay safe, stay connected, and I shall see you on the next one.